Should I travel to Stowe, Vermont to see the fall foliage? Stowe, Vermont. If you picture New England in the fall, you might be imagining something that looks a lot like this: colorful mountains, covered bridges, country roads, historic villages, maple trees glowing red, orange, gold, and yellow. But is Stowe actually worth visiting for fall foliage? Or has one of Vermont's most famous destinations become too crowded and too expensive? Let's find out. Quick answer: yes, you should visit Stowe, Vermont to see fall foliage. If you want to experience classic New England fall foliage, Stowe belongs near the top of your list. Stowe sits beneath Vermont's Green Mountains, surrounded by forests, mountain roads, farms, historic buildings, and some of the most spectacular autumn scenery in New England. The catch? Peak foliage is also Stowe's busiest and most expensive time of year. And there's one thing you absolutely cannot control: when the leaves change. What makes Stowe, Vermont, so special? Some destinations have colorful trees. Stowe has an entire landscape built around them. During peak foliage, the mountains explode with crimson, scarlet, orange, gold, and bright yellow. And unlike destinations where fall color is concentrated in one park or attraction, nearly every road around Stowe becomes part of the experience. You can drive through mountain passes, stop at scenic overlooks, walk through the village, explore covered bridges, visit farms and country stores, or simply find a quiet road and see where it takes you. That's what makes Stowe different. The entire region becomes the attraction. The biggest mistake first-time Stowe, Vermont visitors make: there's one mistake that can ruin a Stowe foliage trip. Assuming that peak foliage happens on the same dates every year, it doesn't. In most years, peak foliage occurs somewhere between late September and mid-October, but weather conditions can move the timing earlier or later. Higher elevations can also change before lower elevations. So if seeing peak color is your entire reason for visiting, don't plan your trip based solely on a calendar date. Monitor foliage conditions as your trip approaches. And there's another mistake visitors make: only staying for one day. Stowe is much better when you give yourself time to explore the surrounding roads and countryside, because in Stowe, getting there can be just as enjoyable as being there. So let's look at the 3 biggest reasons to visit Stowe during fall foliage season, and the 3 biggest reasons you might want to think twice. Let's start with the 3 biggest reasons to visit. 3 reasons to visit Stowe, Vermont in the fall. Number 1, incredible fall colors. Stowe is one of America's premier leaf peeping destinations. Some of the most popular places to experience the scenery include Smuggler's Notch, Mount Mansfield, Route 100, mountain valleys, and countless scenic overlooks and backroads. For photographers, this is one of the biggest draws. The combination of mountains, forests, farms, roads, and historic buildings creates far more than a simple wall of colorful trees. Number 2, classic New England scenery. Stowe seems almost designed around the images people associate with New England: covered bridges, white church steeples, historic inns, maple forests, country roads, mountain farms, small town charm. The result is a destination that feels timeless. If you've always wanted to experience the classic New England fall you've seen in photographs, Stowe delivers that experience remarkably well. Number 3, scenic drives. You don't have to hike to enjoy Stowe. Some of the best fall experiences happen from behind the wheel. Popular routes include Route 100, Smuggler's Notch, the Mount Mansfield Auto Toll Road, and the back roads throughout northern Vermont. You can spend an entire day driving through the mountains, stopping whenever something catches your eye, and that's part of the magic. In Stowe, the journey is the attraction. Next, let's explore the downsides of visiting Stowe, Vermont. 3 downsides of visiting Stowe. Of course, Stowe isn't perfect, and fall foliage season brings some significant drawbacks. Number 1, Stowe is expensive. Fall is one of Vermont's busiest tourism seasons. Hotels can sell out months in advance, rates increase, some properties require multiple night stays, and popular restaurants can fill up quickly. If you're traveling on a budget, peak foliage may not be the best time to visit. A weekday trip or a shoulder season visit can make a significant difference. Number 2, crowds. Stowe is a relatively small destination. Then peak foliage arrives. Expect busy roads, crowded overlooks, busy restaurants, and heavy weekend traffic. The good news? Weekdays are generally quieter, so if your schedule allows, a midweek foliage trip can offer much of the scenery with fewer people. Number 3, the foliage is never guaranteed. This might be the biggest downside of all. You can book the perfect hotel, choose the perfect weekend, plan the perfect scenic drives, and nature can still have other plans. Weather determines when the colors begin, how vibrant they become, and how long they last. That's simply part of traveling for fall foliage. You can plan the trip, you can't plan the leaves. What to do in Stowe? Fortunately, there's plenty to do in Stowe, Vermont, beyond looking at trees. You can ride the Stowe Gondola Sky Ride, drive through Smuggler's Notch, visit Cold Hollow Cider Mill, explore downtown Stowe, visit local maple farms, hike through the Green Mountains, stop at scenic viewpoints, and explore local shops and restaurants. That variety is important because it means your trip doesn't completely depend on whether every tree happens to be at peak color. Ideal trip length for a visit to Stowe, Vermont. For most travelers, 3 days is a great starting point. A weekend gives you enough time for scenic drives, Stowe Village, foliage viewpoints, and some of the area's attractions. 5 days gives you more time to explore northern Vermont and add nearby destinations. And that's another reason Stowe works so well as a fall road trip destination. You can combine it with Burlington, Montpelier, Waterbury, Woodstock, Quetchi, the White Mountains of New Hampshire, or even Montreal. Stowe doesn't have to be your entire vacation. It can be the centerpiece of a much larger New England road trip. What is Stowe, Vermont, like outside of the fall season? Here's something important about Stowe. Fall isn't the only reason to visit. Winter transforms Stowe into a major skiing and snowboarding destination with snow-covered Green Mountain scenery and a completely different atmosphere. Summer is arguably the best alternative for outdoor enthusiasts. Hiking, mountain biking, gondola rides, swimming, and exploring the Green Mountains make Stowe an excellent warm weather base. Spring is quieter. It's also mud season, so trails can be messy and the landscape sits between winter and summer. But travelers who value lower prices, fewer crowds, and a slower pace may still enjoy it. If fall foliage is your reason to visit Stowe, winter is the strongest alternative, while summer is the best choice for outdoor adventure. Who should visit Stowe, Vermont? Stowe is particularly well suited to fall foliage lovers, photographers, scenic road trip travelers, couples, outdoor enthusiasts, and travelers experiencing New England for the first time. But Stowe may not be right for you if you dislike crowds, want a budget vacation, don't enjoy driving, or need your foliage dates to be predictable. Final verdict. So, should you travel to Stowe, Vermont, to see the fall foliage? Yes. If you're looking for one of America's most iconic fall foliage destinations, Stowe belongs near the top of your list. The combination of colorful forests, Green Mountain scenery, covered bridges, mountain roads, historic villages, and classic New England charm creates one of the country's most memorable autumn experiences. But there are trade-offs. Hotels are expensive, crowds can be heavy, and peak foliage is never guaranteed. Still, few destinations reward visitors with scenery quite like Vermont in October. Sometimes a destination becomes famous for a reason. Stowe is one of those places. Should I travel to? 3 pros, 3 cons. You decide. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and check out our other travel comparisons.